candidates will and should be doing to get your vote on this final day of campaigning. Meanwhile, Spencer's got the weather for us.
And no one's going to vote. Winter-like storm will produce major snowfall in Minnesota and the Dakotas.
I'm sad. Good morning to you. I look great up there.
5 nuns shot to death last week in Liberia.
There's something unsettling about lost media. Fragments of stories that existed once, only to vanish, leaving behind questions that refuse to be answered. What's been erased? Who decided it should be forgotten? And what lingers in the spaces where the footage used to live? Tonight, we delve into 3 tales of media shrouded in mystery. Footage that should exist but doesn't. Recordings that survived only in whispers, and moments too disturbing to fully resurface. Each story takes us deeper into the shadows, where truth fades, memory distorts, and what's left behind is more haunting than we ever imagined. Few things are as unsettling as footage that slips into obscurity. A moment in time recorded yet left incomplete, its details forever out of reach. This is the case of Matías Bello, whose final moments, broadcast live in December 2001, shocked audiences worldwide. The complete recording is now considered lost media. Only a small excerpt of Bello's final act survives, preserved in La Argentina Enloquecida, a television special chronicling shocking moments from the nation's past.
50 presos que están amotinados en azul está estrictamente ligado a lo que suceda en Sierra Chica.
El motín de Sierra Chica puso en crisis a todo el sistema.
Son realmente impresionantes.
The fragment shows Bello's tense standoff in vivid detail, but just as the climax approaches, the screen cuts to black, leaving only audio, a chilling void where answers should be. But what drove Matías Bello to orchestrate such a harrowing end? His story begins long before that December day, marked by tragedy, misfortune, and a desperation so profound that it culminated in one of the most unsettling live events in Argentine history. Matías Bello's life wasn't always consumed by despair. In 1995, he served time for robbery, a crime that landed him in prison but also gave him the chance to start anew. After his release, he found work as a park cleaner, steadily building a stable life that eventually led to a job in Tandil's municipal offices. For a while, it seemed like Bello was on a path of redemption, but fate had other plans. His wife left him, taking with her the sense of family he had clung to. False accusations of involvement in the death of another official tarnished his reputation, and financial woes soon followed, culminating in the loss of his home to foreclosure. As if these tragedies weren't enough, a devastating diagnosis revealed he was living with HIV, leaving him isolated and stigmatized. Piece by piece, Bello's world crumbled, until all that remained was a man weighed down by misfortune, searching for an escape and a way to make the world see his pain. On that fateful day, Bello called a press conference, inviting local media to a meeting under the guise of addressing Argentina's economic crisis. Journalists gathered, expecting commentary on the nation's turmoil, unaware of the deeply personal story about to unfold. For 20 minutes, Bello spoke candidly about the tragedies that had consumed his life. His words painted a portrait of a man pushed to the brink, each revelation more harrowing than the last. Then, as cameras rolled, Bello stood and delivered a chilling declaration. "That's all for the recording. What happens next, if you want, is live. Now follow me. I'm about to make a scene." The reporters followed him into the mayor's office, where Bello revealed the true extent of his plan. Seated in the mayor's chair, Bello retrieved a shotgun hidden beneath his jacket, sending the room into a state of shock. For over 24 minutes, he held everyone's attention, not just with the weapon in his hands, but with the weight of his words. Carlos Capodici, the mayor's secretary, sat beside Bello, pleading with him to reconsider. Others joined in, their voices laced with desperation, but Bello was unmoved. His reply was stark and final.
Even if you tell me we'll give you the building across the street, there's no turning back.
The room fell silent, hope flickering briefly among the crowd. But just as quickly, that hope was extinguished. Matías Bello's final act played out live, but the footage of this moment, while recorded, was never fully released. At the time, Argentina was gripped by political and economic collapse, and the nation's attention was elsewhere. Media coverage of Bello's story was limited, and the recording faded into obscurity. The lost footage of Matías Bello's final moments is more than just an artifact of a forgotten broadcast. It's a window into a life overshadowed by despair and a society's struggle to confront the weight of mental health, stigma, and isolation. Will his story ever be found, or is it destined to remain a forgotten memory? Some things are meant to stay hidden, lost in the folds of time, fragments no one may ever see again, leaving behind only echoes of what once was.
Y esa desesperación a algunos los lleva a tomar la drástica decisión de TV.
It's the late 80s, and in the ruthless world of Mexico's criminal underworld, power is everything. Ambition fuels betrayal, and betrayal invites revenge, revenge so brutal that its story still lingers like a dark legend whispered in hushed tones. At the center of this grim tale is Hector Luis El Güero Palma, a rising figure in the Sinaloa group. Ruthless, cunning, and driven, Palma's success earned him dangerous enemies. Among them were the feared Arellano Felix brothers, leaders of the rival Tijuana faction, men known for their merciless thirst for dominance. The spark that ignited this inferno was Palma's bold decision to steal shipments and territory from the Tijuana and Guadalajara factions, a move as audacious as it was reckless. The Arellano Felix brothers, seething with rage, devised a plan for revenge. But they didn't just want to hurt Palma. They wanted to destroy him. Their weapon of choice? Enrique Moreno, a Venezuelan operative as charming as he was cruel. Infiltrating Palma's inner circle, Moreno earned trust, seducing Palma's sister and embedding himself deep within the family. But his mission went further, darker. His next target was Guadalupe, Palma's wife. While Palma was away on cartel business, Moreno made his move. Whispering promises of a better life, he seduced Guadalupe and convinced her to flee with him, taking Palma's 2 young children with them to San Francisco. For a fleeting moment, it seemed Moreno had won. But this wasn't about escape. Shortly after, Palma received a package. Inside was something no father should ever see, a grotesque message delivered in a box. The scenes of Guadalupe. Palma's world shattered, his soul consumed by rage and grief. But the nightmare didn't end there. According to whispers among cartel bosses and criminal insiders, Moreno took the children to the Concordia Bridge and cast them from the towering structure into the abyss below, and recording into a videotape that was sent to Palma. The existence of the tape remains one of cartel lore's most chilling mysteries. Some claim it's a myth, a dark folktale crafted to magnify the cruelty of the Arellano Felix brothers. Others, those who walk the shadows of the criminal underworld, swear it was real. To this day, the Concordia Bridge remains a symbol of unending sorrow. The supposed recording, locked away or lost to time, has never surfaced, but its legend persists, haunting those who dare to remember. Was the tape real, or was it a nightmare fabricated to terrify and dominate? Perhaps. Some horrors are better left unseen. Some stories linger, trapped between memory and myth, their echoes distorted by time. One such story is the tragedy of República Cromañón, a concert-turned-nightmare in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on December 30th, 2004. Nearly 200 lives were lost, and over 1,500 were injured when a fire consumed the packed nightclub. But beyond the devastation lies something even more haunting. A piece of lost media that holds the full, uncensored truth of that horrifying night. It was supposed to be a night of music and celebration. Thousands gathered to see Callejeros, a beloved Argentine rock band. Spirits were high, anticipation electric, but the air carried something far more dangerous. Shortly after the concert began, someone in the crowd ignited a flare. Its fiery arc cut through the dimly lit venue, striking the ceiling, a death trap lined with flammable polyurethane foam. Within seconds, flames erupted, sending toxic fumes cascading over the packed crowd. Chaos exploded. The mass of concertgoers surged toward the exits, many of which were locked or chained shut with padlocks. Security personnel had sealed them earlier in the night to prevent people from sneaking into the concert without paying. Bodies pressed against each other, fighting for a breath of air, for a chance at survival. Among the madness, a lone camera silently observed. What remains of that footage is a fragmented relic, a 4-minute clip titled Cromañón, Video y Audio Completo. It begins like any concert recording, shaky shots of the stage, the crowd alive with energy. Then, reality breaks. Hold back a little because the place will catch fire. You understand? Lead singer Pato Fontanet's voice, strained but steady, rings out, a desperate attempt to warn the crowd. The screen goes black, but the audio continues. Distant cries, gasps for air, the thundering stampede of bodies searching for salvation. A brutal symphony of despair, cut off only when the recording stops, abrupt, incomplete. Rumors persist that the full footage, over 2 hours long, exists. Whispers claim it was seized by Argentine authorities, locked away as evidence, hidden from the world. Some say it briefly surfaced online before vanishing, swallowed by the internet's endless void, whether fact or fiction. The complete recording has never been released, and likely never will be. Some truths are too raw, too horrific to be shared. Some stories are meant to remain buried in the shadows, in memory, in lost media.